Good day, my friends, blessed ones. How are you all? I'm going to try to get through a bunch of these questions here. I've got a couple of hours to spend with you. That's exciting. And try to get as much covered as possible. I apologize that these are all Q&As, but there are so many questions from you guys and some very important and serious questions that these need to continue to be answered until I get caught up with you. But I hope you're all doing well. And I'm going to remind everyone to keep it simple. Keep it simple, sweetheart. You know, the mind always wants to dig, always wants to add or subtract. The mind is the mind. And we try to get everyone to pull back behind that mind and control that mind. Because there's so many concepts and ideas and theories and what ifs and buts and things like that, that true science is hard to come through, you know. There's just so many conclusions made from observations with no understanding of processes and why processes. Sometimes it's important to see the whole donkey, not just the back end. So I want to get going with this and try to catch up. I know a lot of you are suffering, and the whole world is in trouble, as you guys seen. And I am, again, equally proud of each and every one of you for stepping up and helping your friends, your families, and yourselves. And you Facebook people are the best. You guys are just really kicking it. Lysandra, good job. All you guys, just good job. I couldn't mention you all by name and be sitting here for weeks. But each and every one of you, I'm always with you. And you can count on us always here unless they try to shut us up. So let me go ahead and start through here and see where we go here. Okay, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Daniel, we just got this one in, so I'm going to touch on this because Daniel's a young man with testicular inflammation, swelling, and now reduced down half the size. And this becomes a problem because, again, when you look at the swelling of the testicles or pain in that area, no different than having ovarian issues. And this is always, remember, you're looking at a group of cells, no matter what tissue we're looking at. It could be the prostate, it could be the little winky itself. So whatever we're looking at here, we're always looking at cells and the two fluids that service them. And so you know that you're getting a blockage in that kidney on that side, Daniel. And that's where you want to open up your kidneys. The problem that we have with looking at sediment is that that's important to us. But we also know there's two kidneys feeding into one bladder. And that we can see sediment from one kidney and not from the other. So the only way you're going to know that if one kidney is sluggish is that side of your body is sluggish in inflammation or healing itself or swelling, things like that. You know that particular kidney is just trying to come on here. So when you have this, I can't emphasize enough that this medical consciousness of wait and see or antibiotics, this young man went on obviously some kind of a drug for his guy, developed a cyst in that area. And then they obviously gave him antibiotics for that. Now he feels worse. I mean, I could read this, but it goes down where he feels worse from that. He's trying to avoid, doctor never fix the problem. Well, it doesn't. And what amazes me is that medical doctors, after how many years of this, don't get it. So when you're not a more spiritual in your thinking, and more spiritual simply means that you have the ability to pull back from the mind. You are an individual that moves more toward emotions than thought. Those people have the ability to pull back and see more of the show. Those that are steeped in the mind, they just keep using chemo, keep using antibiotics, keep using things that cause worse problems. But the mind doesn't allow them to grow because they can't get out of their minds. And this is true not just with medical particularly, because there's a lot of spiritual medical doctors. We had them in our class this time. I have friends, we've had them in our class before. And these guys are the aces of MDs. but they're few compared to the many. And the problem is people's health are directly at stake. I just had an 82-year-old walk in here, lung cancer and bone cancer, and they have him on chemo. Now he's bruising and bleeding and everything. 82 on chemo. I mean, this oncologist, you know, I mean, just as a karmic kickback, needs to walk off to jail or something, throw in his license and get the hell out. Because this kind of stuff, I mean, it'd kill him. So luckily, he's awake, and his wife is going, no, I'm not going to let my hubby die this way. So, you know, these sort of things are out there. And if we don't pull back from the mind, you're trapped with your education. You're trapped with your thoughts. Not that education's bad, but you're trapped with it. And education is just a mere smidgen of truth, of what we know or someone else thinks they know. Most of what you study is books written by other people who think they know. So partly true, partly not. So that's sort of the thing that we have to be careful with. And keep it simple. Daniel, you really want to get on this. You're 26, and the age definitely detects weak adrenals and kidneys. And it just makes sense, since you're going to have gonadal problems too. And the seriousness of this is testicular cancer. There's no question about that. You know, so you've got to get your kidneys filtering and get those adrenals up, get those kidneys filtering, and pull this out. And it's right there, you know, fairly close to the kidneys, so you should be able to pull this out of there. Because that's your lymph system. That's not blood problems, that's your lymphatic system. That's cysts, tumors, boils, pimples, acne, everything you can name. Notice that most inflammatory conditions are autoimmune conditions. But you guys know them as the reality of the lymph and acidosis. You know the reality of the causative problems, and that is key in understanding how you move in a treatment or how you move in a curative stance. So this is what I basically want to see. Let's see. Lastly, I will mention that around the time of the cyst, I was or had finished 100 pink hexagonal anaerobic steroid tablets. Uh-oh. Yeah, that could be a problem. Well, you know what? What you did is you just slammed your adrenals, which then shut down your kidney. So this is part of the problems. You have to be careful. And taking steroids and stuff, we have to learn we can't do these things anymore in life. These younger people are at the age and at the genetic levels and at the toxicity levels that you don't do anything like this anymore. And now look at testosterone. Right now it's considered, of course not a drug, but considered a bad drug. And so now they have lawyers all set up because people are having heart attacks from it. You know, all the guys and all these things. And it's like, how is it worth it? So you fix things. You let your body be the knower and the doer. You just make your body healthy and keep away from these things, because it depends your goal in life and what you want to achieve. Some of you want to achieve God consciousness. Others just want to have a good life physically. Others are athletes. Others have all levels of things. And this applies across the board. We are Homo sapiens. We are a species, not a blood type. We're a species. No one ever says you're type A, Mr. Giraffe, and your other giraffe over there is B negative. You can't eat the same veggies. That's all stupid thinking. You know, we're a species and our body responds the same. The differences are our genetic weaknesses and how bad is our lymph systems. That's what it boils down to, because you can take everyone, put them on the proper tropical diet of which Homo sapiens are designed to eat, and then use the botanicals which God designed to clean and restore the function of cells, and you can bring almost everybody back from anywhere in the world having similar problems. Now, yesterday we did a video, I don't know if it's up yet, on our little Russian fellow. So I hope you guys do well with him, you know. It's not difficult. In terms of protein, you got plenty of amino acids in these fruits and berries and melons. Plenty. For primates figure it's plenty, and most people wouldn't arm wrestle with a little monkey. So you guys take care. I want to show you this. Look at the difference between our salve and what's out there on the market. I wanted to show you this because we got our salves in. And I want to show you just the difference of why I make my own herbs. Look at the deep, rich darkness of our salves. 1 to 4 concentrate, hemp oil, coconut oil. It's rich. Look at this crap on the market. It's so light, it just looks like it's petroleum jelly. And that's why, herbs have gotten a bad name. Greed. Money. Cut it down. It's like, well, we're not made of that kind of thinking. All right. Let's see this one. This is, please refer to me as Kristen. Dan, the life regenerator, turn me on to you. Thanks. Thanks, Dan. I started detoxing last summer, but my husband is still on SAD diet. Isn't that funny? Standard American diet, sad diet. And I was looking, it was on the news last night that, Michelle Obama's been trying to get better lunches in school, so I applaud her for that for sure. And now, since it's been implemented to have better lunches and get rid of the crap and the sugars and stuff like that, they want to relax those things now. And it was like the American Dietetics Association, a group like that was saying, it's costing us too much, it's doing all this. And I'm thinking to myself, do we put a price on a child's health? Do you mothers put a price on your child? Oh, it's too expensive to buy good food for my child so he'll be healthy. Let me buy the crap. I mean, you have to be careful in today's time because the negative forces want to rule. And we're also having some little visitor problems here. So we must be careful and be strong with what we know. And it's simple. So you don't need to have volumes of education. You have to have the ability to observe nature and chemistry and how it works and interplays with each other. Outside of that, it's so simple. A little thing I found in the mountains at a rock shop. Isn't that beautiful? I love beautiful natural stuff. Love that stuff. Of course, there is no creative intelligence. Couldn't be. I started detoxing last summer, but my husband's on Standard American diet. Before Christmas, we both got flu, which turned into pneumonia. Now, good. That's what you want. That's why you're detoxing. That is a major detox symptom, is a cold and flu-like symptom. And when one comes on, and I've talked about this many times, you want to promote it. You can come off the herbs or you can stay on the herbs. I just went through one, just put myself into one. And I'll tell you, I didn't do the herbs. I made it the first day or two. But you can or can't. But the whole point is you go back on fruit, melons, whatever you need to do to keep flushing those kidneys, to keep that body alkalizing, to keep assisting the body in cleaning itself out. Pneumonia, when it settles down into the lungs, which it's going to settle into the bronchi and lungs. This is just congestion coming out. It's not fun. You wheeze, you rock, you roll. People die not from pneumonia, they die from what? The treatment of it. I told you one Fox News announcer, some news guy got killed with pneumonia or died from pneumonia, and she knew better. And she said, when she was talking about him, she said he died from the treatment of it. I wonder if people caught that and understand that more people die from the treatment of problems than the problems. And what are the problems? Congestion, mucus. Well, what causes mucus? Dairy products, cheeses, proteins that are foreign to the human body. Whenever you consume something and you feel congested and mucus and clogged up from it, guess what your body didn't want? The problem is, now you created all this extra mucus and you've been working hard to get it out. But to stop a cold and flu by killing the bacteria in the body and using suppressive antibiotics, bad choice. Bad choice. Now, with that said, one of your hardest cases, guys, are your COPDers because you got to keep them breathing. They're so backed up lymphatically and just full of mucus from all the types of foods they're eating. On top of that, their adrenals are down. They've been on steroids. The adrenals are already down. They have neurological C.O.P.D, asthma up, emphysema, so forth, all neurological on top of congestive. So no fun to work on those cases and that's where you might want a little suction device if they're real weak, because someone's going to have to start pulling mucus out of them because the body naturally wants to break up all the mucus, and it's not fun when it's in the lungs. but you can't suppress it. If you're having a hard time breathing, go to your cardiopulmonary in your hospital. Don't go through the ER. But unless you got insurance, go to cardiopulmonary and say, hey, what do you charge for a nebulizing treatment? And then they will give you a nebulizing treatment. Say, I don't want I don't want any inhalers involved with this. I just want a nebulizing treatment. And they're very helpful. So that's why with lungers we go a little bit slower. But sometime or another they're going to break loose. And tougher than those are your quads, who don't have the neural power to pull this up. That's real dangerous. And we've discussed this in other cases. And I love you too, sweetheart. Now, let me see. I decided to not go to doctor and write it out. Smart woman. All I did was drink fresh squeezed orange juice. Thought that would have been your prescription. You're right. Fresh squeezed orange juice, watermelon, fresh squeezed anything. Years ago, I'd do the orange juice. If I could get oranges, I'll take them on top of anything. Husband went back to doctor. Doctor x-rayed him and hospitalized him. Well, sorry, hubby, but that's smart woman over hubby. I refused to go to doctor. It was miserable, aches, pains, fever, sweats, chills, common, and she brings up an excellent point here, guys. Miserable, aches, pains, fever, sweats, chills. That's all part of it. Every one of us have it, whether you're in Moose Jaw, Alaska, or you're on the islands in Costa Rica. I don't care who you are in the human world, you're going to have the same symptoms. It's typical, okay? So aches. You see your body starting to build itself up. Fevers are starting to develop. Why? Starting to loosen things up, right? Starting to dilate the skin, get the sweating going. Because what's the skin? The third kidney, right? Pain. You're going to feel pain in everywhere you're weak. Everywhere you have a weak, not in healthy tissue, everywhere you have weak tissue, or you already have inflammation or acidosis that's affecting the cell, you're going to feel that. Absolutely. Sweat. Yeah, baby. Chills, yeah. Unfortunately, but again, wrap up and sweat more. And these are typical symptoms. When you stop these, the next time's worse. And the next time's worse. And the trouble with stopping this is in the future, oh look, we see a mass developing in your lungs. Ooh, where'd that come from? We've only been suppressing your body's ability to try to clean itself. I mean, it's horrible. And it's what the medical consciousness has led man into. There's so many people that we're all suffering basically because of the philosophies of AMA. Medical doctors, not them, they don't know any better. But it's the AMA that promotes this philosophy that's ridiculous. Stayed on orange juice only, but after a week I was pretty much healed up and 6 pounds thinner. That's a smart woman. This is my question to you. I have had itching in the vaginal area for over 20 years. Yeah, I'll tell you what, get some Heal-All tea. Some Parasite M. Now this is internal, probably candida or fungal problems. So you can use Parasite M. I don't have any Parasite M, I don't think. I have some in capsules. If I've got some in capsules, you can open them up and make a little tea, make a strong tea, use a napkin or something to hold that in the vaginal area so it can absorb in there. I would also recommend maybe taking 2 weeks and douching with Heal-All tea, cleaning the vaginal canal. And you can add Parasite M tea in with that. When you're making your Heal-All tea, open up a few capsules of Parasite M and brew that all together. But moving your lymph, and you see all your symptoms you went to? Lymph. So it's just telling you you're backed up. You're backed up here, but obviously you're also backed up down there. Hard to be backed up in 1 or 2 places in the body lymphatically. You only see that in your genetic weaknesses. When the kidneys aren't filtering, it's the whole side. Some a little more than others, of course, depending. But you see what this lady did? She did the correct thing. Her husband now is going to have to live back through this. This woman cleaned out a whole bunch of stuff that was blocking her energy flow, blocking her breathing, blocking all this stuff, and is there future tumors and masses. So she did just the correct thing. He freaked out and went to the hospital. Sorry, but he made an error in his turn. Now he's going to have to, because despite what medical doctors think, he's going to go right back through this again someday, especially when he starts detoxing. Because he didn't allow anything to clean out. He thought it was bacterial. Medical doctors, oh, you infection, bad. You got to get in here. It's like, excuse me. have tried everything in the world to get rid of it, even estrogen cream. I wouldn't use estrogen cream. Itching would calm down, but always return. Yeah, that's your interstitial. You're probably loaded with fungus. Use Gold Bond cream and or yeast infection creams to stop itching. I know. I tell you what, after a pneumonia ordeal, the itching is totally and completely gone. I'm going to give you 5 gold stars, sweetheart, for today, because this is just what happens. Your body clean. And this is a good example to show you that. Boy, her whole body was aching and stuff. Her whole body was cleaning itself. How beautiful was that? I mean, that's why we allow, this is why we detox. These are national detox symptoms. International and natural. Question, did the fever and misery of pneumonia kill? Yeah, probably did a kill, getting the fever up a little bit. You have to let your body deal with this, but also elimination. Even down there, you probably didn't know you were eliminating in a minor way. And sometimes women get, mucus and stuff vaginally. And that's just what you were doing. And you did a good job. That's why you detox. These are the symptoms that we talk about, and not just we. Old greats, detoxifiers of old, always witness these experiences. But when you stop and look at that, these are symptoms that everything goes through when the body's trying to clean itself. You did just the proper thing. Note, I healed up within 2 weeks. Doctors gave husband x-rays, antibiotics, pills, and cough medicine. It has been over 2 months, and my husband is still having sinus problems. Sorry, hubby. I have to tell you, you got a smart woman there. You might have to start listening to her. Oh, let me see here. Uh-oh. Hey, Drew.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. You want to check, see if this is... she did a good job. I'm sure she did.
Listen, I trust.
I trust
anyone.
That's right. Are we kicking down the road?
Turns on that camera. You're good.
Good.
Hey, no complaints.
No complaints.
Enjoy.
Good. Yep. Thanks, Drew. Question 1, please. Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Not plugged in.
Not plugged in. Well, we got battery power, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did I just hear it go down a minute?
No.
Relief is just to plug it away.
There you go. Have fun, all right?
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's see, question number 1. Please discuss the different types of thermometers and which is best for monitoring basal temperatures. Well, I like the old mercury thermometers, but there are basal temperature thermometers. These digital thermometers are up and down. I've seen some that said right on the packet, for basal temperature, subtract a degree or 2. And it's like, what? I mean, we're looking at what actual degrees we're looking at. So I can't tell you about that. I know there's different thermometers coming out on the market with that, but they actually have basal temperature thermometers. I have had one that is digital and read by swiping the forehead, but I am not confident this is very accurate. I'm not either. Obviously, variations in the body temperature can occur according to many factors. Oh, absolutely. And each where, because if you have acids building up in an area, you could have a heat patch right here and a heat patch over here, And, you've got a little heat coming from the axillary lymph nodes, all acids. But you can tell whether you have low thyroid because you're cold. You feel cold and you just can't seem to warm up. Question 2, you have mentioned that when tests and measures reveal hyper, it is really hypo. Is this true for cortisol too? Well, here's the problem. And Marcy and I were just having a good conversation about this because one of the questions she asked me, and it's like, the difficult thing that we have and that we're brought up in is the mind. So when we look at our blood works and they've used blood as a reading for steroids and hormones, very inaccurate and can be up one day and down the next. I don't put all my eggs in a basket. When you study steroids and hormones and the like and neurotransmitters, you know by symptomology where you're down. If you try to play this game of watching this go up and down, that's problematic and it'll drive you nuts. That's why I say if you simplify this and just make healthy those tissues that produce, all your tissues, and you don't have to worry about a thing. because there's very little one can do about these things other than detoxifying the inflammation or acids out of these tissues, making these tissues respond better by enhancing the cell's function within these tissues. That's all you can do. This brings them into their own consciousness, the consciousness of the whole body, and the body works as for you. And for itself, in other words, depending upon your level of consciousness, your emotional ins and outs and all that, because we're all different in that way. So we use steroids and hormones differently. No question about that. Activity levels are different. Every levels are different. So hard to make judgment calls in that respect. I want to go back, though, because one thing here you said is hyper always leads to hypo. Hyper means something is stimulating that gland or that tissue. Generally, it's acids that create hyperactivity, or other metals, metals like mercury or aluminum can initially create hyperactivity in the initial low-level inflammatory responses the body has to these metals. You can stimulate that. Or, for example, all this idea of using iodine. If you guys are using iodine by itself, throw it away because you can get yourself in trouble. It has been well documented that the use of inorganic iodine, I don't care what they call organic. Organic means it's synergistically bonded in food. And I want to change the way organic chemistry thinks about things, because they're confused in organic versus inorganic. The more inorganic, the more elemental. Organic is more of a synergistically bonded factor in chemistry, in my opinion. And if you look at it the way, it helps you to see life so much better. As the more isolated chemistry gets, the more inorganic it gets. The lower its electromagnetic energies, the more it tends to create side effects. So, that's why in a hyper state, you don't want to give anything for that tissue or you'll make it more hyper. You want to pull back and detox. But if you don't, hyperactivity, first you can have hyperthyroidism like Marty Bellman. You can have hyperthyroidism early in life and then go to hypo. Remember I said Mick, the drummer for Fleetwood Mac? Look at him, good example. Mick was hyperthyroid early on in the studios, and now he's hypo. And this is something you see all the time. And when you understand that everything is going to go down to Hellville if you don't correct it. Because that's nature. Things are birth, life, and death. And death is the acid side taking you out. Remember, everything breaks down to acids in its final stages. And there's all levels of acids. That's why I said life is nothing in physical world but variances of pH. Now, we can concur in physics that we can say these are levels or frequencies of electromagnetic energy. In spirituality, we call them states of consciousness. And that the goal is to be fully conscious or have consciousness as opposed to playing with different states of consciousness, because in creation, that's what everything is. Everything is a different state of consciousness, a different level of the one. Now, is this true cortisol? Will you give a more thorough explanation of the imbalances and swings of cortisol in relationship to weak adrenals? Well, I don't know what I can say about that, because that gets too intellectual in an area I wouldn't even take myself, because every female can be considered different in her emotional components, her relationships, and everything else. And of course, her pituitaries and how that affects the ovarian estrogen and progesterone levels, how the hypothalamus and pituitary affects adrenals, all of this. And then, of course, your inflammatory response in the body is a cortisol response as well. So how acidic are you? I mean, there's so many factors of this, dear one, that you couldn't begin to think about that. And when you play on these intellectual waves, you just you're never happy. You never get yourself balanced. And you're always living in fear. I got to get myself balanced out. If you sit back and bring balanced chemistry into the body will achieve its own homeostasis, if there is such a thing, its own balance. And that's all you can do. Because if you try to play with this, that's medical thinking. If you're low on cortisol, take it. That sort of thing. It's like, you can't do that. We know that. Those that have done that are not real happy anymore about that. Right? And these are bad things to do. So you can't do it. You have to make the adrenal glands healthy. And then your cortisol levels will balance out to your activity, to your sugar metabolisms, all to the needs of what you're ingesting, to your activity needs. Of course, you're fixing the pituitary at the same time, so the needs of the whole body in that respect. So these are questions that you wouldn't even find anybody could answer that. You could get the intellectual game players to do that. I've seen studies on that. And it's like, you know what? They still came in to see us. Because there's no rectification of that. Even if you can play those kind of games, those are games. And you'll never find remedy. Your remedy is to step back, clean and restore the function of the cells of the body, and be happy and healthy. And you'll find that everything will come into balance and healthy from that. And it's not a cop-out saying that, because we know what it's like to go the other way. Most of this world is a product of allopathic thinking. Most of man's health issues right now is simply how we've treated ourselves and from the diets we've decided to consume. And if we make anything more out of that, we lose ourselves. We get lost, we get fear-based, and we have other people wrecking our lives. And you can't do that. Not and be happy and healthy and have a life. Just like this lady's husband. He didn't trust enough. He didn't trust his wife enough. His wife knew. She knew she was strong in her knowingness. And of course, she's done, cleaned up, and he's still fighting. He's going to have to go back and do exactly what she did. All the money, all the toxicity, all the suppression, all the killing of bacteria in his body, he's got to go back and restore everything they did to him. And then he's going to go back into the same thing he already was going into. So it's just keeping it simple and understanding the totality of this. It's not difficult. It's simplistic. I think man is so fear-based now on everything, it's just ridiculous. Governments have got people fear-based. You've got hand sanitizers everywhere you go. Ridiculous. You know, you start living in that world, will be like a boy, everybody will be in a bubble. Because people's immune systems, people's bacterial will have none. And the problem with that is this destroys your immune system. This destroys the very system that's supposed to clean you. That is bacterial laden. I mean, there is always bacteria in sewer systems. And the sewer system in your body runs right along with the blood. Just like when we put pipes in the ground, we throw water pipes right along with sewer pipes. Now, number 3, in proper food combining, we think to separate fruits from vegetables. That is correct. Are apples a possible exception? Yes, my dear. You know what, Carolyn, you're right. If I decide I want some cooked food and I want some cooked veggies, and sometimes they just sit there, I'm going to go cut me an apple. Because apple is so high in digestive enzymes. And for those that junk out and they get real bad down here, use an apple. Apples are great digestives, and they just seem to work real well, on top of including meats. They seem to digest well for many people with combined. Absolutely. I don't know if I would combine it just for the sake of combining it in a salad, but I guess you could, you know. The hottest thing is strawberries in salads. I would not do that. Are there some fruits that can be mixed into a lettuce veggie salad with reduced risk of fermentation? I don't know. I don't do that because I am so sensitive to that sort of thing that my body, it'll kick my butt. When I mess up on food combinations with just what you're saying, mixing fruits with vegetables, my body goes, nope, no, we don't think so here. And so I don't do it. I refuse to do it. I don't like paying the prices over and over and over again, you know. A few hundred times is enough. Maybe enzymatic rich pineapples or papaya. Yeah, definitely not those. Definitely not those. You would want something that's much slower to digest. And I don't know what that would be except for maybe a banana, and I can't imagine a banana in a salad. But you could go to your veggie fruits, your avocados, your cucumbers, things like that. Now, you can mix those pretty good. Just curious what you have discovered clinically from talking with thousands who eat only fruits and veggies. That's just what and on myself as well. These are the things we don't do. Matter of fact, you'll see, Carolyn, that the more you see all these people going more fruit and detoxing, getting higher, the more vegetables they don't even want. Isn't that interesting? But you start to understand why, because you feel so light. Your energy is so strong. And then when you start eating lower forms of food, it like drags you down. You go, oh man, I like feeling I like that light, conscious, energetic, powerful feeling. That's just hard to explain if you've never done it. Because you feel the power of the raw in your muscles. It's just hard to explain the difference. And especially for you athletes. If you're an athlete, you definitely want to be a raw foodist. Hi, Dr. Morse. My name is Oscar, I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I don't. Remember, I'm an old country boy with not a lot of pronunciation and spelling experience. Oh, those two kids ran the spelling book out. I couldn't believe I can't believe that. There were words that I looked and I thought, how in the hell did you figure out how to pronunciate those words or spell those words? I mean, just words that's like ridiculous. Those two guys, they kicked the book on it. Amazing stuff. But you have to realize that if you get trapped intellectually, you're trapped here. So you have to pull back. You can enjoy that to some extent, but you also must realize that spirituality is the key to your wellness, your survival, and your ability to have fantastic journeys. All right, I have been watching your videos for about a year and find them very informative. Thanks, Oscar. I've been tugging with nail psoriasis. Look at that, nail psoriasis for about 2 years now. I also have candida overgrowth. Oh, that figures, don't it? Yeah. Intestinal inflammation, all right. Can we link these things? And trouble digesting some foods, especially meat. Okay, so if we look at meat digestion, we might want to look at your stomach, my friend, and take a look at that and see if you're having stomach problems. You know, if you're having stomach problems, what are we talking about? What is the stomach? A sac made of, cells and two fluids, right? And each cell, of course, each cell is specialist. Some produce hydrochloric acid, others Pepsi. You got all these different cells doing all these different things. Okay. If you pull back from that and realize the health of that cell and the ability of that cell to do its proper work, whether it's producing hydrochloric acid or whatever that cell's job is compromised when which system is down. Well, the cell basically dies if there's no blood. That cell, however, has a long road of inflammation and the suppression of its function when it's the lymph system. So we lose hydrochloric acid, then, it's just an ongoing thing like that. So I would look at the stomach, I clean out my GI tract, get my liver and pancreas cleaned out, gallbladder, just really clean up the GI tract so you can improve digestion and absorption. You definitely want to get the adrenals and kidneys up so you can start filtering and get this lymph cleaned up. Because this lady before that allowed herself to go through these pneumonia and these cold and flu-like symptoms, you see how it cleaned her down there in her private parts? Because the body cleans itself from head to toe. And she just gave a beautiful example to everyone what to do. She's a poster child on what to do when you have these problems and how you get on the other side and not too long, not real happy. Nobody likes to be miserable. But you put it in there. You're the one that ate it, whether you did it out of ignorance or not. You're the one that lifted hand to mouth, or what you put on your skin, or what you drank, or what you breathe. You're the ones that do this to yourselves. You're set with some genetic patterns that you can turn around and rebuild, but basically those cells rely on chemistry, and you're the one that brings it in. So you're the one that has to fix it. We rely on doctors and physicians and all this to help us fix it. You know where that's led us? Hellville. So this is why these videos, educational videos to empower you. And we're here to walk with you. I'm here to walk with each and every one of you. So these are to empower you to fix yourselves. It's not difficult, but it's like this lady. She rode through this, knowing, suffering, but she rode through it. Proud of her. That's what I do. When I go through those things, which is very, 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 very rare, I write them because I know if I don't, I'm screwing myself, nobody else. And look at her husband. Her husband now has got to go back, undo what he just did at the hospital, and then go back and go through the same thing she did. Not pleasant. But this time it could be a little harder on him because he suppressed that first action. And this has been our problems. My diet for the last year or so consists of lots of fruit and veggies, about 25% of cooked foods, including meat. Yeah, I'd probably nix off the meat, of course. Start moving away from the veggies and get deep in detoxification. Now, if you were normal out there and you had you weren't detoxifying or something, you got a pretty good diet. I'd say a pretty good diet for those that are meat eaters would be to have maybe 20 grams of meat a day, which ain't much. No more than 40, and then I'd probably do it more bird meat or something like that. And then do maybe one salad with that, and then the rest of the day be fruit. You can live long and healthy, no question about it. But this is about detoxification and how you restore and rebuild. And you can't. And the funny thing is, you can't rebuild with the meat. That's what destroys. So it's like we're eating destroyed tissue to rebuild healthy tissue. Yeah, there's a lot of non-thinkers out there. The more fruit I eat, I notice better results on digestion and improved inflammation in my intestines. See what I'm saying? Absolutely. And that's what you need to do is ride for a while, get the kidneys filtering, get the adrenals up, of course, and get all this taken care of. And you're done. You're done. And then you can go back and enjoy some of the things that you personally feel like you need to have. Outside of that, you see the difference. You're proving, and there's another individual that's proving on themselves the reality of this in my intestines, but then my nail psoriasis flares up immediately, and that's because fruits are very active in the lymph system. No question. This is why the lymph system is so big and why fruits are the dominant foods of man. But yeah, it'll start exciting fungi and everything else. Remember, fruit isn't the issue. Fermentation is the issue. So you could look at fruit, but look at your adrenal cortisol levels. But this is why you use a parasite or you use some type of antifungal. At the same time, you get your lymph filtering through your kidneys and you're good. You start cleaning all this acid and stuff. That'll clean up the psoriasis, of course. But I can tell you right behind that is just full. You're probably full of fungus. You might want to spend several months on parasite and really defungal yourself for a while. But true defungaling is cleaning the lymph system. And this lady just showed that. She had a heavy fungal involvement vaginally. She let her body clean her lymph system, and now it's gone. I mean, that just shows you the power of the lymphatic system and of detoxification and why it's there. When I eat more veggies, my psoriasis problem reduces, but my digestion gets worse. See, yeah, I would go for the fruit, buffer that with your parasitic formulas, and then start honking on that lymph system a little more aggressively. Get your kidneys filtering. Let's see. I'm guessing because of all the fiber as well. Yeah, exactly. But vegetables are just hard to digest for humans. It's hard to digest. I forget. I was talking about carnivores, and or omnivores, and even omnivores have shorter bowels than we do. And giving them vegetables is harder too. That's why a lot of dogs do like the fruits too. So I'm kind of lost on where to start. Don't be lost. Go ahead and kick up the fruit. Start fixing, because the worst thing you have is the inflammation in the intestines and in the stomach wall. Sounds like your lymph system's just backed up all through you. Intestinal, stomach wall, all of this. And it's suppressing either hydrochloric acid, whatever you're dealing with. So, or you have a pancreatic problem and you're running low in bicarbonate, but I don't see that here because it sounds like you're digesting fruits and vegetables okay. But nobody fully digests vegetables well. Not in the human species and not in the omnivorous species. That's why they go to rabbit. I've got a little Chihuahua Chipurkey, eats that rabbit crap. I got rabbits all over the place. And pre-digested protein. Pre-digested grass matter. And that's how omnivores and carnivores have to get their veggies. You can't just give them that veggie. But there's dogs that eat, veggies and stuff, no question. But for a better experience at that, could you please share your knowledge and explain if I need to work on candida first? I work on it simultaneously. This will clear up. And let it work all together, because if you try to work on one thing at a time, hell will freeze over before you feel like you feel good. That's why I go and plow that field, get it done, and you're done. Put up with the side effects and just like this lady, honked right on. And now look where she's at. She's going to smell better, breathe better, taste better, and hear better. So let me see. And what's the best way to get rid of candida? That's what I'm saying. Move lymph, properly get the lymph moving, and use a parasitic formula as far as I'm concerned. Fix your adrenals, though, because that's where most fungal problems exist, is where because of improper sugar metabolism. And that comes from low adrenal function or specifically cortisol levels. And what's the best way? Okay, I've been looking for products to buy from your website, but not sure exactly. Parasite. But I would do at least, if you can afford it, I would at least do a kidney, a lymphatic, an endocrine gland. You know, do the Fab 4 or 5, or do the basic kit if you can afford that. That's got a lymphatic, a kidney, it's got a worm killer, a fungal killer, it's got a GI tract, a liver gallbladder, and at least you know you're starting to open up all the doors. I don't know what the first kit is anymore, but that's what I would do, my friend. This is Akram. I hope all is well. Thank you, my friend. I was reading up on herbs and learned that certain herbs like bloodroot and comfrey are poisonous to the body when taken internally. Who would you read that from? Books or from the AMA? I've given comfrey and bloodroot internally for 45 years. And I've never had a problem. Matter of fact, our cure rate precedes us, doesn't it? And this is all a bunch of crap. People have taken comfrey. I'm from the country, and comfrey is a country herb. Been taken for 100 years, probably 200 years, comfrey. And comfrey, there's nothing. You know, what's poisonous is the FDA. That's what's poisonous. What's poisonous is misinformation. Now, I will say this with the blood. What is this? Poker blood. Bloodroot is toxic at high levels. Most of the roots can be toxic, poke and bloodroot. But we don't use high dosages of these. That's why it's important to talk to herbalists that know what they're talking about. And a lot of herbalists are just copycat herbalists. They echo whatever the FDA or someone says. It's like the lobelia. We've had this discussion on past videos about lobelia and how it got a bad rap. And so there was a lawsuit over that even. No, not poisonous. Good stuff, and comfrey in particular. Bloodroot, you got a tumor and you want to pull it out through the skin, you better love bloodroot. I use it internally because the club members here, because it's very cleansing. It breaks up tumors. If you have a tumor in you, you don't care. And I've used gallons of bloodroot comfrey on people. So there's a lot of misinformation. Chemistry, you know, we can go into a lab and we can isolate chemistry out of herbs, and then we can go, oh, that alkaloid there is going to destroy your liver. If I gave you that alkaloid by itself, you're right. But the numbnuts that say that alkaloid will hurt you, so you can't have that herb, is full of crapo. And that's the problem. But that's how their cunning little devious minds try to eliminate the best herbs of the market, too. You know, you got to understand, there's a concerted effort to give you misinformation over the best herbs on the planet. If this is the case, I was wondering why you include these herbs. Well, didn't I answer it for yourself? Would you not, Akram, understand that if I'm a healer and I'm using those herbs, that I don't believe that? And that I've been doing this 45 years, and that obviously you've read some misinformation? That's what I'm thinking. Absolutely. You think I would use something poisonous? Most of you guys are on bloodroot. I don't see anybody dying out there. I see everybody getting better. So you see what I'm saying? You got to be real careful about the powers to be and what they're trying to do to us. You know, but you always be smart. The one thing, Akram, this does bring up, be smart in, because there are some powerful herbs out there. But we know how to use them. That's why get an herb degree. They're fun. You know, and clinics like ours that have used these herbs for so many years, we show you proof. And I've had them on babies, and I've had them on the elderly. And I've had them on elderly people that have had cancer, and I've had them on them for years. Absolutely no liver elevation of liver enzymes, no side effects whatsoever. Now, with that said, too much of a good thing like that can lead to a little bit of a problem. Yeah, let's see this one. But thanks for the question. But throw that information in the wastebasket because it's wrong. I'm in a lot of trouble. My name is Paul, and I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I am ready to pull the pin. Well, you pull the pin, Paul. Hang on there, man. 3 years ago, I had a reaction to some cleaning products. Oh, crap. Look at this. You know, it was on the news that, what is that, Panera bread. They're going to go to all natural ingredients. They're not going to use any chemicals in their products. I guess they're a food bread place or something. But they're going to use all natural products. And they're going to go all natural. And I'm hoping that this resonates in all the restaurants around. They've been feeding everybody chemicals and MSGs and everything for years. And it's too bad you can't sue them over it. Then he got a rash from this, of course. Then after that became chemically sensitive and was breaking out in rashes. Well, stopping right there, Paul, right there shows your lymph system was already backed up and you were bringing more toxins into the body in the form of acids generally. But then there's some strong alkalis in some cleaning fluids too. So you could have either one there on this case. It's enough to say though, you know, when you reach a point where your body reaches the full level like a full cup of coffee, that's it. That's all you can take. Then your lymph system is going to let you know by rashes, by immune responses, and worst case scenario, anaphylactic shocks. Hey, that's it. I don't need it anymore. I'm full. So what's the remedy to that? Detoxification. How do you get rid of chemicals in the body that you've added into this mix of the lymph system? Clean them out. Well, how do you clean them out? There's only one word that I know that fits that, and that's detoxification. The question is, what's detoxification? What's the best way to do it? And that's where you seem to run into a myriad of opinions here. But to be honest with you, detoxification is a fasting experience in nature. But with us, it's a fruit, berry, and a melon, and a water if we have to experience. But you have to get this out. You could go to some green drinks initially, high parsley, cilantro, Irish moss, if you can throw it in there. But or any type of kelp or anything can do that. And maybe some spinach or something. Put some beets in there, beet bulbs, even beet greens. And do some greens to clean yourself out too. But you've got to get your kidneys filtering and the lymph. This is suggestive that your lymph system is already backed up, Paul. And just remember that you're not alone, my friend. We all sit on the same seats. We're all together in this, and we're all experiencing the same problem. That's why we learn is the negative things that hit us. You know? I felt like I was being electrocuted. Oh man, electrical shock zaps all over my body. Well, you know, it's not fun when these are neurotoxins and things like this, and it can shut down your breathing and everything else. And so you might even have some weak myelin sheaths, which comes from weak adrenals. And that would set you up with some of these chemicals, if they were neurotoxins, could go to these and let's take a ride, basically. And then you start having or you could get upstairs and have some electrical shocks from that, or accumulate in the cerebellum and get some electrical shocks from that. This was making life kind of hard, no kidding. And at the time, and I ended on some medication. Anyway, it gets a lot worse. One day sitting on my couch, I got some ringing in my ears. I went to bed, woke up, and went to work the next day and didn't even think about it. It must have been gone. Went and stayed at my then girlfriend's house, and the next morning came home. Sat on the couch in the same spot, and an hour later it started again, tinnitus. I'm told, no cure. Interesting, though, how you saw it reoccurring sitting in the same place on the couch. And I'm wondering, you know, in houses and electrical currents, you know, there's a lot said about that. And of course, the sensitivity you would have to electromagnetism, who knows? You know, we have a lot of frequency levels and places, and I mean, everything's everywhere now. So who knows, you know, springs in the couch, kind of, you know, who knows. Well, if I can't cure this, I'm dead because I can't live with it. Well, tinnitus is generally pressure in the body. So, and you just have to start cleaning out the lymph system because you got to do it anyway for the above. And as soon as you pull all that pressure out, all that'll go down. But then there's tinnitus, and then there's also listening to spirit or the ek or the prana or life force. There is you know, if you first listen, it'll sound like a high-pitched sound or crickets almost. And as you get deeper into that and become more yourself, you start seeing the music and hearing the music, to these different levels. Things start changing. So, but clean your lymph. This is just another lymph system problem where you're building pressure in the body, and not good pressure. Lymphatic pressure doesn't affect blood pressure for a while, but is a lymph pressure, like a glaucomic pressure. And you also can be backed up here. I'd work on those neurolymphatic points down your spine, and open yourself up that way. Get your kidneys to filter, check your urine, make sure you're filtering, get your adrenals up. That'll get your neurotransmitters up. That'll make your myelin sheath stronger, and everything will start getting stronger. Any pressures will dissipate, and all of these sounds like that will come out. It's turned into acid in my brain and ears. Oh yeah. That's why the tinnitus. This is not tinnitus or not tinnitus. This is not or not tinnitus that I can't find anyone else to match. It doesn't matter. It's pressure, man. It's the system. You don't have to read about it. Think about it. What's the body? What's the brain? Cells and two fluids, right? Keep going and looking at the body in any other different way, and you'll never find. If you're thinking of it as a disease or something that just attacked you, well, good luck. You'll be full of fear the rest of your life, because no one can cure those things when they look at it in that manner. When you look at it in truth, when you see that your body has a lymph system that most people are in trouble with, it starts to ring clear. I'll tell you a good thing. Take a picture of your eyes. Take a look at your eyes there, my friend, and Paul, and see what you see. I feel like I have been kicked in the head by a horse. Well, it can get worse. It can get so much pressure build up, you really want to take a Colt. But this would be a Colt 45 to the head. My head is in a vice. Exactly. And this is serious stuff. You need what this lady, before you, they had a cold and flu-like symptom. That's what you need. If you can get yourself a cold and flu-like, go hug someone that's sick. Try to get something coming going. If you can't get it on raw foods, run over and find some sick people. Give them some hugs. Breathe in my face. Because if you can trip yourself into a healing crisis, you'll pull this out, and that'll come out of you quicker. If not, you got to move lymph. You got to get your kidneys filtering. You've got to get your adrenals up. You see what I'm saying? You either do it by manual work or let the body do it. My head is in a vice. I have a hot pin sticking into my body all over. My neck, head, and face feel like they are on fire, because they are on fire. You're highly acidic, and these chemicals you brought into you are just exacerbate. That was just icing on the cake. That then just threw you into, because you were right there. Because if you're not, you could take chemicals for a while. Not that you'd want to, but you could. And that's always telling me that your cup was already full, Paul. And now you got some work to do. You got to roll up your sleeves, Paul, and get yourself detoxed, because there's no other methodology that's going to help you to deal with this. On fire, and this screaming noise in my head and ears is burning my brain. It really feels like acid, because it is acid. You're feeling just what's going on, and you understand acid, so you're feeling and experiencing what's going on. And there are a lot of people now today, and we've talked about this on other videos, this pressure thing, it's building up in tons of people, because now the lymph systems are so backed up, it's backed up all the way up the esophagus and all the way up. And that's why you have to start cleaning the bowels and stuff, but you got to get these kidneys filtering. And this has to break up as much, to some degree, before this can drain. So, these are big deals. I make light of these things, and I talk about the simplicity of it, but they're big deals. They're life and death deals. And but we know what causes them and how to reverse them. Didn't say it was easy, but I did give you a path to find remedy. I have all the blood tests, whatever they are, a EEG, 2 MRIs, neck and and they show clear. You know why they show clear? Because you don't have a tumor yet. You don't have a mass that's dense enough to get some reflection so we can see something. You don't see acids, but you feel them, and that's just what you're doing, and you're wasting your money and too much crap and radiation and dyes. Not good. It'll just make this thing even worse. And what are you trying to see? You already know what it is. You're systemically involved. That's why you feel it all through, although there's probably some neural transportation of those symptoms. I did have a nerve conduction study done, and it showed that I had a hyperactive nerve. No kidding. Well, what? Hyperactive nervous system, but no one can tell me why. You know why. If you listen to these videos, Paul, you know why. And a good example, let's go back. You know how all these are kind of tied together? Well, let's go back to what we were just talking about. You know, in hyperactivity versus hypo. So your nervous system is hyper. What's making it hyper? Well, we live in the world of chemistry, so let's look from a chemical viewpoint. And a chemical viewpoint would be just what you're feeling. Acids are at this level making you hyperactive. But keep in mind, the chew will come and the cells will fall. So you need to detox this out of you because there's no other remedy. Okay, pee in a jar. Are you filtering? Get your adrenals up. You know, work on your lymph system. Because outside of that, there's no remedy. This isn't a blood problem, but can become one. I'm being told it's stress. Oh, give me a break. You know, when someone says something like that, stress, I just want to slap them upside the face. You know, humans on this planet, I got to quit. I don't know. I mean, the human consciousness is amazing to me. I can see why God's sending some troops here. It's just, holy crap. Stress. Right. I don't believe it. And good, Paul, because that's bullshit. Yes, I'm stressed now. Yeah, and that'll shut your adrenals down and then even more lymphatic problems. Don't stress. Pull everything outside of you. It's just your body's having the trouble, not you. Now you're learning how to deal with your bodies and how to fix them. I haven't been on any medication for at least a year. Well, what good is it going to do you? Most are suppressive in nature, just to swing around and hit your head up with like a sledgehammer, and then it's even worse. So I can just tell you, Paul, from my experience with these cases, and we've got hundreds of them now all around because this is a common problem, get this out of you because nothing good comes. And let me mention one word called brain lesions. Okay? As I type this right now, the burning has in my left foot. Yeah. And you'll start seeing neuropathies coming too. I have pain in my shin, which feels like acid in my brain and ear, and pulsing in my neck and face. I think I'm toxic. You're right. And those cleaning fluids just brought you to the level of saturation, baby. And now you have to unsaturate. I'm starting to get the pain all over my body, and these hot pains seem to be everywhere in my body and head. I'm also thinking I'm electromagnetic. Well, that'll get you very electromagnetic sensitive. When your nervous system gets way acidic like that and hyperactive, anything can set you off. TV, cell phones, any electromagnetic energy. So yeah, you're experiencing exactly what's going on here in your only world. You need to go to the tropics for about 2 or 3 months and live on some Costa Rican fruit or something, Panamanian fruit or something, and really get your body in a state of wellness, or you do it at your place right there, but get started like yesterday, Paul. This all started a couple months after my smart meter was installed. Did you call him? I called him, and I want to call him again and get that damn thing off of the house. I tell you what, this world just can't stop. The mind just can't stop infusing itself with toxicity. Because this is all mental stuff. This is all people sitting around thinking, you know what, instead of sending a guy out with their dogs and everything, we'll just satellite pick up everybody's meters. You know, and that's where technology is going. But however, technology in the absence of spirituality leads to hellville. It leads to these sort of problems. And man doesn't get it. You guys are the only ones that are getting it. And you got to get it. Because you're going to be the few that survive, where others are going to do what Paul wants to do, colt himself, have a horse kick him in the head, a Colt 45 horse. Holy God, call him and get that smart meter off. Tell him you don't want a smart meter, you're having electromagnetic energy problems from it, and you want that off immediately. And don't let them talk you into it. I talked to the power company, and they said, oh, they're trying to fill me full of bullshit. I notice after I've been on my mobile phone, this all seems to be worse. Hello? You know? Radiation. And the more acidic you are, Paul, radiation will hold and build just like acids build. And pretty soon, you're shining like a light bulb. Absolutely. Acids hold an acidic medium. Remember, acidic mediums create an anionic environment, an environment of coagulation, agglomeration, where a alkaline environment creates a cationic environment of disbursement, releasing, detoxing. I've been trying to detox, but I'm getting nowhere. The person that sent me your YouTube clip showed me my blood is full of worms. Well, you can get on the herbs, Paul. Get you on the first kit at least to kill you. Get rid of these things. Clean your body up a little bit. You have to clean your lymph system up and get your kidneys and adrenals functioning, or you're not going to be real happy with yourself. I can tell you, because there's no other remedy anywhere. There's not one thing you can take for this problem. Not one thing. The only way you can go is down the road of detox. And if you just follow the guidelines here, you'll have a good way to do it. You got the clinic to help you. If you can afford it, I would get either an appointment with Marcy or something and let her help you work you through that. If not, the staff will help you here, your other club members. I've been doing my best, and I'm losing this battle. You don't lose the battle. We'll help you win the war. We'll help you win it. I've been close to jumping on a plane and going to QLD. No smart meters. Yeah, I know. I would love to go to Costa Rica and just and live there. I love governments like that are totally neutral. I wonder when well, I won't go there. Looking for a health retreat to help me get out of this whole thing. Well, you know what? You don't have to spend the money and do that, Paul. You can do it right there at your own house. You got to get yourself focused. I'd probably go to the green drinks, maybe one fruit meal a day to start. Get on the herbs to help you detox. Even if you didn't know, just take the 14-week protocol as we have it. That's all you would need to do. And then add some green drinks and get 100% raw if you can. Nick say on the proteins, don't add more acids into the body on top of acids, because now the compounding is going to be much more in your face, literally speaking. Looking for a health, okay, I am not nor rich or able to, well then spend it on the herbs, don't spend it doing that, but you can get, I don't know where you're from, but you can get to some place that has tropical fruit. You're already miles ahead of everything, but you're going to have some symptoms even on the fruit, because it sounds like your cuppeth runneth over, Paul. And all seem to be expensive holiday camps for rich lovers. I know it. I know it. It seems like every one of them turns into something like that. But turn your own camp, turn your own house into a detox tank. Make sure you're not by high electrical wires and things. That could also not be too good for you. Get out in the sun a lot. Get out of the house. Play outside instead of play inside. Wrap the mother around you again, right? Go barefoot. If you're near a beach, walk around the beach a lot with bare feet. Ground yourself to the earth. Let this magnetism flow through you instead of caught. But again, you're too acidic, so you're holding everything in. I'm a single father that had a very close relationship with my son, and now we hardly speak. Well, Paul, let's get it back. You get yourself back, my friend. You can get yourself back from this. You're not that far. So, let's get going. I can see this as having an impact on him as he sits by and watches his one-time fun-loving father suffer. Well, let's get out of father suffering, okay? All the docs think I am mad and that my pain is BS. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what used to drive me insane about allopathic thinkers. Ignorance! Ugh. Yeah, if we can't see it on an MRI CAT scan, I guess it's all in your head. How many times have I heard that one? That just shows you the extreme ignorance of those people that say those things. No offense to anybody out there, but I have to say, this is ignoramus stuff. I have a rash on my forehead. Oh, hello! I have a rash on my forehead and what feels like electricity running through my body. Hello, what's a rash on the forehead? A little scary? What's a rash from? The lymph system, right? And the lymph system is what system? The system that deals with cell waste. And cell waste are what side of chemistry? Acids. Hello. And so it sounds like you're not moving your cell waste out well, right? Constant headache 24/7. Holy crap, man. I tell you what, you need help, Paul. And when you get this, unfortunately, I'm going to be talking all the way to 5 o'clock here almost. So you're not going to get this till tomorrow. And you have to give Chris time to get this up. So I feel for you. And I don't have a phone number or anything to call you to give you some inspiration with this. So I hope you get this sooner than later. Can you help me, please? Be happy to. Be happy to. Do you know of anywhere here in Australia I can go and get the right help? We got a lot of Australian friends there that are detoxing, so you might get up on Facebook and see if you can get some friends going there where all you can work together, because there's some great, great souls in Australia that are kicking butt. So, find you some friends over there that are on the Facebook there. And that's Friends of Dr. Morse, Friends of Robert Morse, I'm not sure. And they'll help you get that. I really feel I need to be in a hospital. Good luck. No, you don't. That could be your demise. But I also know they can't help. Exactly. And you don't know that until you go enough. Oh, really? I can see where, you don't know, huh? I put myself in the mental clinic once, and another time they put me in, but nothing happened. Well, you know what? You don't have to worry. It's not your mental. It's nothing. It's not you. It's your body. And you're not making this up. You're feeling exactly what's going on here. You're not making this up. I have a ton of people go through the same thing. And you wouldn't write this to me in this way if you were bullshitting. And if you were, who cares? A lot of people already have this problem. Had tons of cases of this. And we've talked about this on past videos, by the way. Especially the pressure in the head. Get it out. Because nothing good ever comes of this. That's your central nervous system. I told my last GP I felt like I was on fire, and he took my temperature and was normal, so he said he had proved me wrong. Excuse me, I got to throw up a minute. God, the insanity of this. Sometimes you wonder what planet you're on. Sometimes you have such modern things, but so ignorant in so many things. Oh my God, just because your oral temperature is down there, you're acidic interstitially. You're burning, you're on fire. It doesn't affect oral temperatures. Can, but as a rule doesn't. I'm not crazy. I know what I'm feeling. You're not crazy, and I'm on your side, my friend. I need some relief fast. I can't work on if I'm sick or just in hell. Exactly. I have lost my girlfriend, most of my money, my son, my family, and I am in more pain than I could have dreamt. I'll show you how to get out of that, Paul. Hang in there, get a hold of Gen B, get yourself started on a program. If we have to help you, we'll help you as much as we can. Get a little thin back there, but do everything we can to help you out of this. But you hold the ability to consume your foods, and that's what you have to change. To take my chance with death and put an end to this suffering. You don't have to put an end, Paul. I'll show you how to get that straightened around, and then maybe make your relationship back with your son, and explain to your son you found the answers why, and let your son review this video. It's not in your head, and yet it's in your head. Do you see what I'm saying? But it's really kidneys and adrenals. You got to understand that the world has destroyed most of their gut and kidneys from these high-protein diets, and now we wonder why we're having all these systemic problems. So, you can't find remedy in allopathic thinking. Matter of fact, that modality must go through some drastic rearrangement of their thinking, or they're going to kill half the people off the planet. But remember, that's the desire of the World Health Organization. 90% of the population must go on planet Earth. World Health Organization, not me. World bakers. The problem is what they don't get, they're going to all fall with the same crap. Their sons, their daughters, their babies. Only the spiritual ones that can see truth will survive. And I'm looking at a bunch of them right now. You, each and every one of you. Be a vehicle for God. Whatever you see God as, who cares? But be a vehicle for love and awareness. Get beyond that mind. This is from James. Oh, Doc. Hello, James. Is there any advice that you can give for my uncle who has a spinal bifida? He has had it for 5 years now. God, I wish I could remember the name of that girl. She was born spinal bifida without L4, L5 now. After actually only 2 years total raw, she has now L4 and L5. Now, how can you be born without tissue And then on a high energetic consciousness diet, you suddenly develop these vertebrae start developing. This is her story, not mine. So all I can tell you is that you have to understand how creation is put together if you want to really understand how this whole thing really works. I've done as much as I can feeding you that. And the next thing, if we can travel, I try to take some of you to museums and places where you can see how this stuff is put together. There's plenty of places you can go to see this stuff in advance. So with spinal bifida, the same thing. Generally, you want to get into the kidneys and adrenals. Again, you want to go after the body's health issues. Because what you're doing is you're cleaning out all those things that mutate cells, which are, acids, and regenerating the body. But it's so much more than that. It's understanding how that God world chart is set. Understanding energy. Energy is intelligence. Intelligence is consciousness. And understanding how all that sets down. That's why I had Chris put up that video from the class. If you get that, you'll get it. And why spinal bifida can be repaired. At the worst, you can take the quality of that life of your uncle and bring them way the hell up. But you want to get the kidneys filtered, you want to get the adrenals up, take a look at the body, see what you're going after in there, see his weaknesses, and start rebuilding his human body. Upper circuit brain and nerve would be paramount in that, by the way. He doesn't believe it can be reversed as the medical doctors can't help him. Well, you know what gets me, and if you're someone out there that thinks medical doctors can help anybody except in trauma cases and stat emergencies with surgeries and stuff like this, then you're being fooled, and you're living in a world of delusional thinking. Because if you haven't learned by now that there's no curative value to medical thinking, it's not supposed to be curative. And I don't believe they claim that, other than they claim it's no cure, that autoimmune, that's only to protect their ignorance. The bottom line is it's a system of treatment with toxic chemicals, and that system has to end. It has to come up to another level. Take what it's learned from the past and build on that. Get rid of that which is destroying the lives of millions, which is pharmacology. There is some good things about pharmacology, no question, but that would mean we'd only need 1 or 2 pharmaceutical companies, and they wouldn't make the money they're making. And if you expect a medical doctor to regenerate something like spinal bifida, I think you've been sucking on something that is unreal. Because there's no regenerative value at all in the medical world. Why would there be? But they put it out on the news and everything like, oh, the discoveries are right there. Now, there is some good things there. There's no question. They got the stem cell powder and stuff that makes tissue grow back rapidly. All kinds of neat things there. But we also have limitation. Remember stem cells and the limitation of that? Remember we had the stem cell researcher here and she was talking to you about that a little bit? Can you give your advice on what you would do to him and how long it would take him thoroughly to see some changes? I think you would start to see some changes within the months. And what would you do, 100% raw? Nothing less. 100% raw. 1 salad a day, the rest fruits, berries, and melons. And might find him going up in the higher. I would also get into the kidneys, the adrenals, the lymph, cleaning up the bowels, upper circuit brain and nerve. I would also take a look at parathyroid gland. I'd also take a look at the pituitary gland, get a picture of his eyes. Remember, we have on there how to do that. Take a look at his eyes. Send them in, and when we do the eyes, we'll go over them. And get deeper into that. But detoxification is regeneration. Got to understand that. Because the average person, that's just detoxification. Oh, no. No. That's the door that you open, and the world of light, love, regeneration, healing, Wellville, everything's there. We're all here waiting on you. I know Dr. Morse says bacteria and viruses do not cause symptoms or disease. No, I didn't say they didn't cause symptoms. But we mistake them for causing the symptoms. But when you can get bacterial overgrowth and things, no question about that. But it's not about the bacteria, it's about your culturing medium. Or as one doc said, the terrain. It's the condition you set up for this. That's at issue. You can't blame them for the problems. And disease is an illusionary concept of allopathic thinking. The world is in real time here. Everything is chemistry and physics. interfacing. And everything either goes up or down from those two things, because you have birth, life, and death. Where are you on that scale? And can you pull yourself from death back to closer to birth again? Absolutely. But if that's the case, why do communities break out with all the same symptoms? No. There's bacterial and virals, absolutely. But you're the host. That's the point. You're the hostess with the mostest. And those hostess with the mostest, like Paul here, can be quite a culturing medium for this. But you not want to kill them. That's who cleans you. Remember that? Go back to this lady who had cold and flu and pneumonia, and her husband had the same thing, and what she did and what he did, and the results of both. And same thing with this case or any other case. I'm saying that our problem with blaming microbes is that's delusional. We must take it another step deeper and understand why they exist and what is it, why we have that problem with them. And how can he explain the Spanish flu and the Black Death, which killed so many people in a short amount of time? Thanks, Bree. Well, Bree didn't say they're not the causative factors. You go back here, and you go back to these times where you saw these plagues and stuff, heavy consumption of dairy products. They were living in cities where the creeks were their sewer systems, things like that. So this is about how we eat and our internal sewer system. How does it look? Not everybody got there, remember? So in any plague, you have those that get and those that do not get. What's the difference between the two? Culturing mediums. Those that are on dairy products and milk products are raised on that, like I was, expect to have some cold and flu, mucus, all these type of flu-type things, absolutely. Culturing mediums. If you don't have a culturing medium, you can sit there in the Spanish flu, let's just say, as an example, and everyone else is dying around you, and you're standing. Why? Because you cleaned your culturing medium out. There's nothing to culture, and that's the point. You know, I don't know how to explain it any more than that, Bree. They're their reality, but understand how nature works and why nature works that way. You remember that story I told you that was on Ripley's Believe It or Not, where the young lad had a lymphoma? And a lymphoma is which system? Obviously, the lymph system. What did he end up doing? He ended up in northern Alaska, an old elder Eskimo who saw exactly what was going on. The old elder knew exactly what was going on. The guy sooted up his body with mucus and sewage. And so, what did he do? Gave him rotten food, gave him a lot of bacteria. Bacteria, most people would be scared to death of. Wash my hands. Oh my God, that'll kill me. Eat it. And he did. And what did it do? It cleaned his sewer system up, and he had no lymphoma left. Ripley's Believe It or Not. Well, if you understand this whole understanding of culturing medium and sewer systems and bacterium, you're not surprised at all. See what I'm saying? But if you sit there and say bacteria causes diseases, you're delusional. Because there's no such thing as diseases. This is all about sewage and acids and mucus and all this stuff you see in every condition that's out there. And that isn't diseases. That's a filtration problem in the human body of the sewer system. That's simple. You've got a whole system down when you see these problems. And we're eating the very foods that clog the system on top of that. So not only have we weakened our kidneys and our adrenals and all this from all the high proteins and crap in the diet, we filled our body full of mucus with all the dairy products. And now they want us to cook the crap out of that stuff, and it was like, the ignorance is so strong on this planet, it's unbelievable. Doc M, this is, Gwen. Am I correct if I say that sulfur in the GI tract can easily lead to cancer? I'm going to say absolutely, Gwen, because I tell you, sulfur is suppressive, inflammatory, gassy, bloaty, and fungal. Nothing ever good comes out of any of this because fungals or candida type leaves uric acid. And so now all this is acid, and the suppressive nature of sulfur to the lymph system can be a nightmare in the future. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to agree with you on that one. Whatever that is, of the colon as well as the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Absolutely. They can literally hold all these acids in, and then the symptoms can be IBS, Crohn's. You can go on and on and on with that. Now, not all Crohn's and IBS have sulfur involvement, because those are acid involvements. Those are lymph stagnation involvements. But when you have sulfur in there, well, you're exactly right. That just exacerbates, suppresses the whole thing even worse. So, yeah, nightmare from hell. But that's treatment. That's treatment-based thinking with sulfur drugs, antibiotics, suppressive in nature. That's why this lady's husband just suppressed everything, and now he's just hanging around for months, and now he's got to go back and do the same thing his wife did. And he could have rode it with her and been happy and healthy today. And if it was a sulfur antibiotic he was taking, they were giving him, and if it was Cipro in the hospital, they could have killed him. Cipro has killed many people. In both the pancreas and liver do their best to buffer the acid sulfur in the GI. Well, the body always tries to buffer, but if you're not, I think this whole thing comes down to when you see people that take antibiotics, what system isn't working? The lymphatic system, right? So when you're killing the bacteria that's trying to clean that system for you, what are you doing? You're stopping your body's ability to heal itself. Now these acids become more real. The pain starts coming in from them because the bacterium now can't break them down. Because you killed the bacteria that was supposed to break them down. There's nothing good ever leads to this type of thinking. It never has and never will. And so a lot of these drugs are sulfur drugs, and they've just got used to that sulfur the wonder thing. So you have sulfites and sulfates and all this stuff in everything. Notice now, companies that are learning how harsh these are getting them out of the makeups, and whoa, this is crap, let's get them out. They bought into it for short periods of time. Would not the liver and pancreas become exhausted? Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to make that which is healthy, hypo. You're going to destroy that which is energetic. And that's the problem. And this concept of treating with antibiotics must stop. And thank God, since we've been putting them in all the animals, now they're saying, oh, man could get resistant to them, we must stop putting in antibiotics in animals. I tell you, when you look back on this particular age in the Homo sapien lore of history, it's vomitous. Not only that he doesn't love each other and kills each other and kills women and children. Look at this Boko Haram or whatever the name is. I think of that rock group a lot of times. Just slaughtered another 1,000 or another village. I mean, these are low-life scumbutts. You don't slaughter people. If you don't agree, you don't agree. Find another way to deal with it. You don't slaughter humans and children and women. I mean, this is why this planet is vomitous sometimes. And we have to infuse it with love and spirituality and all this other stuff. Very important. Let me see. Thank you so much for all your... Oh, thank you, sweetheart. You have reorganized the jigsaw puzzle of health, and now you can see a true picture. Thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate that. Because if you can get that and understand that, the real problem when someone takes antibiotics is the very system of bacteria. And that this system is your sewer system. And the sewer system always deals with the gnarly side of chemistry, right? Nobody likes sewer systems. And yet we have a major one that's 3 times bigger than the blood system, if not 4 times bigger. And that's least understood by everyone. But now you guys are starting to get it. And that's perfect, because now you all will be responsible for turning this consciousness of this wayward planet around. I missed that. Just now saying that, I missed that news on that planet, a super Earth they found in another galaxy. I missed that story. I've got to look that up. That could be cool. Let me see. What other sources of sulfur are there besides pharmaceuticals? Oh, they're in wine. Sulfates are put in everything, seems like. Read your labels, but they're in wines. They're in all kinds of things. Matter of fact, I don't know. I wonder about pesticides and herbicides and all those things too. I don't know. Jesus, I don't know. They're everywhere. You have sulfurs and makeups and all kinds of things. They put these things in almost in everything. It's like, holy crap. You know, that's what fear and ignorance breeds. And we need people like you guys to stand up and be the truth people and say, what are you guys full of fear for? What are you guys so fearful of nature for? If you understand nature, you understand chemistry and physics a little bit. You don't have to be a physicist or a chemist. Understand the basics. That's all that's necessary. Look at nature and how it applies that. Then you're well walking to Wellville. If not, you live on the ignorant side and everything is fearful and you must kill and attack and things like this. And it's like ridiculous thinking. Thanks, Quinn. Hello, Dr. Morse. Thank you so much for your informative videos. I appreciate them quite a bit, and I appreciate you guys watching them quite a bit, to be honest with you, because it does my heart good to see you guys pulling yourself out of this ignorance and getting yourselves to Wellville. Just this lady and her husband is a classic example of how proud I am of that wife. And she'll be able to help her kids. And these are the true healers of the future. People like her are the true healers. They understand and they stand strong and firm. She didn't let fear waver. That's a strong soul. That's a spiritual soul right there. I'm wondering what your opinion would be on PVCs, which are like a strong heartbeat or premature heartbeat type of feeling. Well, I prefer PACs over PVCs. Premature ventricular beats is what PVCs are, or contractions. And it just means, we talked about this a little bit before in past videos, but your heart has 4 chambers. And it's simply blood moves from one chamber to another while it's on its way to the lungs to get oxygenated, right? Your upper right chamber has what's called an SA node, a sinus node there. That's where the electrical firing comes that polarizes or depolarizes, opens up the valves, and then blood moves from the upper chambers to the lower chambers. The upper chambers are called atrials, the bottom ventriculars. And when you start, this firing has to come from the top. When it starts coming from the bottom, you're starting to get blockages in your nervous system. And now you're starting to fire from different locations. And the same thing with afibrillation, atrial fibrillation. You start fibrillating, you start firing from all different points in the atrium instead of from the SA node. And the SA node could get calcified. And what causes all this? What system do you think? Exactly. We're back to the same system that causes strokes and heart attacks. We're back to the same system that suppresses and breaks down the nervous system. The same system that occludes vascular walls and creates the ischemics and the MIs and everything else. Same system. I don't like PVCs at all. Oh, worse than that, I don't like heart blocks either. There's a lot of first degree, second degree heart. I don't like any of them. I've seen, what was the longest heart block I saw? I was trying to remember. The longest heart block I saw on a heart monitor scared the holy shit out of me. It looked like you just flatlined. I don't know how many seconds it was. Big ones. Nothing ever good comes there, guys. I have been getting them once in a while for a couple of years, and usually it's just one for a second. You know what? That means you really want to get this lymph moving because you're probably getting congested or there's a weakness in that heart, which would mean still more congestion because the lymph system isn't working as well. So detox. Get these valves cleaned up because remember the colon does have in the mid-descending bowel, that's where your heart came off. That's where you have also a relationship. A stomach neural relationship to the heart, that can affect heart, and then the heart itself. So remember, the heart's just 4 chambers made of cells with blood and lymph, and the nervous system as well. Blood, nerve, and lymph are the 3 main energy flows of the human body. Blood, nerve, and lymph. Blood, nerve, and lymph. And the nervous system, blood and lymph. So the final analysis of all your studies, blood and lymph feeds and cleans cells. Don't care how many books you read. Sometimes I've had 2 or 3, though, within the course of 20 to 30 seconds, and I've been told it's generally harmless in most people. But you know what? When you start having things like this, get them out. Because suddenly there's a little more, and then suddenly there's more. And then what we have a syndrome called VTAC, ventricular tachycardia. What do you think? PVCs is the beginning stages of ventricular tachycardia, and that's when you're going down. You lose the ability you're out, you're gone. And then you flatline from VTAC. So that's these are important things to deal with, and I would say, you get your adrenals up. That's your autonomic nervous system. Clean the stomach up. Get your GI tract. Go after the body as a whole unit. Get the heart formula. I love our heart formula. I made it for heart arrhythmias, but I also made it to strengthen the heart. Check your parathyroid gland, I might add. Make sure you're utilizing calcium properly. I'm assuming that it's a PVC I'm having, of course. Well, if you've been on a Holter monitor, you can go to cardiopulmonary again. Of course, they probably make you, I don't know, hospitals are looking for money now. You might be someone to stick a Holter monitor on you there for 24 hours and take a look at that. You might have to get a cardiologist to do that. I'm assuming it's a because it's sort of sucking feeling in my lower throat, upper chest. I don't like that. My blood tests, ECGs, EKGs, blood pressure and heartbeat have all been recorded to be perfectly normal. Yeah, but you don't want PVCs. PACs are premature atrial contractions, as PVCs are premature ventricular contractions. But that means you're firing from the ventriculars, which is not where you want to fire. You want to fire from the atrium. My blood test, and again, strengthening the autonomic nervous system, cleaning the lymph system, which it could be obstructive to the nervous system. That increases blood flow. You can use lower circulation, use the heart formula, get on the kidneys and adrenals, start getting the bowels cleaned up, move your lymph, clean yourself up, and all those will go totally away, including atrial fibrillation, by the way. And check that parathyroid, by the way. I also eat a mostly high alkaline diet composed of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and sometimes like organic oatmeal, quinoa, and the occasional macaroni and something. Absolutely. But you know what? I would sit those nuts and seeds and the veggies kind of to the side here a little bit, maybe do one salad a day, but hit the fruits, berries, and melons, and detoxify yourself. Spend the next 4 months cleaning yourself out. Spend 4 months rebuilding your body, cleaning it out, and that'll clean all this out and reestablish better nerve performance, and this will all correct itself. Could it just be harmless? Never. You sit with that kind of thing. That's allopathic thinking. Let's just watch it. It's harmless right now. Yeah, but what's causing it is building and building until you get into harm. You run attack a VTAC and go down and go get in the ambulance, go, well, I guess it's not harmless anymore. Oh, whoops, he didn't make it. That kind of thinking to me doesn't fit with a healer. A healer's going to go, let's deal with this right now. It kind of frightens me, and it should. Not frighten you, but motivate you to fix it. But I don't want to let the fear control me. No, not at all. You don't walk with fear. You walk with knowledge, awareness, and fix things. That's all you do. It's like you fix your car, you fix your lawn, you fix whatever, you fix your body. You're learning the techniques of fixing the human body right here. Very few have that, and you guys are getting that and fixing your bodies, and I'm so proud of every one of you. I'm also weary of exercising. I would not exercise right now. Now, a good point you bring up here, my dear man. I would not, is this a man? I don't know, male or female. I would not be exercising. Oh, crap, I'm going to have to stop, and I thought I could get all this done. You guys are too good. I would not exercise in this case. This cardiorespiratory exercise, a bunch of crap. If you are not filtering, and your lymph system's backing up, and you think you're doing cardiopulmonary exercise, you're actually increasing acidosis, which is increasing swelling, increasing water retention, increasing the possibility of more plaquing and occlusions and blah, 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 blah. This is the time to rest and get your body back to Wellville, and then exercise your butt off if you want. All right, guys, I hope that's helpful to you all. I could just spend all day here, and I got so much to go over. I feel like I would love to stop seeing people and just work on this. Marcy's good. Jin B is another good healer, quite well. And I'm always here, but there are so many of you guys in trouble, I just can't keep up with you. But I want you to always remember, no matter what you're suffering with, detox yourself. The way we describe here. Understand what you're doing. And in that process, you're also strengthening and rebuilding the consciousness and tissues of the body, the cells. That's your only focus, because outside of that, you're in a treatment-based modalities, and they can get you into trouble all the way to your demise, physically. And your unhappinesses and depressions and things like this. So have fun with this. Make life fun, because if not, this is Hellville. You're living in it. I've had master after master. You see what they refer this level as. So all I can say is have fun with this. Enjoy it. Pull yourself back. Do your contemplations. Practice being in the now. Practice not thinking for a little bit. You've been thinking all your life. Spend some time not thinking. And enjoy the beauty of that. And by the way, you guys having any out-of-body experiences? You better be. That's a fun thing. Make life fun. The journey. It doesn't always have to move your physical body to one island to another. You can move your consciousness from one place to another. And not in the physical world. You got all kinds of worlds to visit and have fun. And there's all kinds of us spiritual beings out there helping you. So there are all kinds of beings out here. But there's also the other one. So protect yourself. Find yourself a spiritual being that can protect you. The Eckmasters are always good at that. But if you have a spiritual being that you trust, use that spiritual being. But you are the power. And don't ever let anybody in your space you don't want it. Stop that which you don't like and rebuild that which you want healthy. That's simple. And I love you all, and you have good fun, and thank you so much for all your hard work and helping yourselves, and especially helping others. The feedback is incredible here. So thank you so much, and have an incredible evening. Bye-bye.